Hello guys, welcome back, and today we're going to be talking about two new revealed jerseys of the Chicago Blackhawks and the Boston Bruins for the 2019 Winter Classic. Now for the 2019 Winter Classic on January 1st, the Chicago Blackhawks and the Boston Bruins will face off. Now before yesterday, we didn't know what their jerseys would look like, and both teams unveiled their jerseys, so now we get a full peek at it. Now, I'm first going to be looking at the Chicago Blackhawks jersey, and then we'll go to the Boston Bruins jersey. I'll be giving my thoughts on both, if they're a good jersey, and if I'll buy them, and of course, which one I prefer. Now, as I said before, we're going to start with the Chicago Blackhawks Winter Classic jersey, and boom, there you go. Chicago Blackhawks revealed this jersey yesterday at, I think, 5:30 p.m. I think they did that at United Center. But this one is a very interesting jersey from me. Now, this is going back to the 1930s Chicago Blackhawks jersey. I think it was 1930 to 1934 when they used this white and black design. And the Blackhawks have a rich history when it comes to jerseys. The ones back in 1930 obviously aren't my favorite, but to me, when I look at this, I think they did about as good of a job as they could have. Now, when we look at this jersey, there's not a whole heck of a lot going on. It's black and white. It's two colors. Not a whole heck of a lot going on there, but with the Chicago Blackhawks logo, they redesigned that logo towards their current logo, but now they have it in black and white, which I think looks pretty solid in my honesty. Now, on the collar, it's white, and I feel like that looks pretty solid. And of course, you got the two stripes there, which kind of remind me of the New York Rangers with their home and away jersey. We have the two stripes there. I think it looks decent. Now, on the 1930s jersey, it had like 4 white stripes there. So I'm glad that they simplified it a little bit for this jersey redesign. Now, on the sleeves and the bottom of the jersey is the exact same pattern. You got 2 bold stripes on both sides, and then you got 3 stripes, one a little bit bigger, one small one right in the middle, and then another one that's a little bit bigger. And that's the same thing on the bottom and, of course, on the sleeves of the arm. I think it looks decent. I think that I could have done without that tiny middle stripe there. I think it would have looked a little bit better without that. Right now, I feel like those stripes are just a little bit busy for me, and I would have had it without it, but hey, it still looks decent, and I like how the white clashes with the black. And of course, that's the main theme of this jersey, the black and the white. There's not much color in this jersey, but I think it pops just a little bit to where I think it's pretty decent. Now, don't get me wrong, this is definitely not on my list or my top list of jerseys that I want to buy. I feel like it's just a little bit bland, and again, just black and white. It doesn't really do a whole lot for me, and they were already announced to be going back to this redesign pretty much when the Winter Classic was announced. So to me, I felt like with this jersey redesign going to Adidas, I think they did about as good as they could have with this jersey design back in the 1930s. It's hard to make a good jersey out of that, and I feel like they did a decent job with it. Now in this next picture, you get to see the Winter Classic logo on the shoulder there, which I think looks pretty solid, and then you get to see what's inside the collar there, where it has all of the Chicago Blackhawks cups, and it has those white rings, which I think has something to do with Notre Dame. I could be wrong there, but I feel like it's a nice touch. I think the side of that collar looks very, very solid, and of course the white with the black clashing, at least for the collar, I think it works pretty well here. Now for one last picture, you get to see Jonathan Toews posing with the jersey. You get to see the C, the white C on the kind of crest there right above the logo. And overall, I think it looks decent. The lighting is a little bit weird in this picture, but nonetheless, it still looks very solid. Next up, we have the Boston Bruins jersey, and to me, this one is very interesting. Of course, the thing that stands out is it's a white jersey, technically. They have the white right there, and while it is technically a white jersey, it doesn't feel like one. It feels like a home and away jersey at the same time, which I feel is very unique. Now, this jersey is also based on the Boston Bruins throwbacks from 1934 to 1936, so we're in that general 1930s era with this Winter Classic, which I think is a very cool touch with Boston and Chicago going back to their 1930s throwbacks. Now, it is a lot, I think it does have a lot of changes from that 1930s jersey, but you see a lot of resemblance with it, especially that B logo right at the crest. Now, for the jersey itself, there's a lot of smaller details, and I think it works pretty solidly. Now, of course, you got the B logo, the brown, and the yellow. I think that clashes pretty well, and while it is just a B logo, I feel like they did a pretty decent job with it. Again, it is plain and simple, but even though I'm against word marks on jerseys, I think the simple look works for this jersey and having to be there. While I would rather see maybe the current Bruins logo or something, I feel like for a throwback, it works. Now for the rest of the jersey, we'll start with the sleeves. You have the it looks black in this picture, but I'm pretty sure it is a more brown color. You have the brown coming down, but you have 3 yellow stripes going down it, 2 stripes there, and the stripe to end the arm. I think that looks pretty good. Now, when this was first leaked, I was kind of iffy about the 2 stripes there. I thought it kind of looked out of place, but right now I feel like that looks pretty solid, especially looking at the jersey right here. Now, on the top, you have the little bit of the black there on the shoulders. It wraps around, and you got that 1 stripe of gold right there along the collar, which I think looks very good. And of course, the collar itself has that yellow feel, which honestly, I really do like that part about it. Now for the bottom of the jersey, it's actually a very unique kind of design that we don't see a lot. Now, it goes black, then gold, then black, and then gold. It has 2 stripes technically on the top, then it has this big bold brown stripe at the kind of middle of that area, and then you have 1 stripe at the complete bottom where it's gold. I kind of like that feel, and I think it kind of matches with the top of the jersey as well. I like that bottom part, and honestly, with those stripes at the bottom, I think it works pretty well, especially with the brown and the gold really clashing to make somewhat of a unique design there. Now we get a little bit more of a unique side into what the collar looks like inside of the collar. Of course, you get to see the collar itself, how it kind of bulges in together, but with the collar itself on the inside, you get to see the shamrocks, which represent the Boston Bruins Cup wins. So I think that's a nice touch, and the Chicago Blackhawks did the same, but I like how they incorporated the shamrocks there. Of course, being in Notre Dame, they wanted to include that too. Here's another hilarious picture where you have Charlie McAvoy and Zdeno Chara posing for the Boston Bruins jersey. With Zdeno Chara, you get to see the C, which I think works pretty well, but I like the beanies that they were wearing, and that's just a little bit of a nice touch. But again, getting to see this jersey on the players, in this picture it looks a little more brown, so that's why I'm saying this jersey is brown, but I know there's going to be a lot of debate on whether it's black or brown, to a point where I'm going to need to get it to really make a final answer there. So now in this picture, you get to see both of the Winter Classic jerseys for the Notre Dame 2019 Winter Classic, and both of them I think look pretty good. Now, this is going to be a very interesting one with the Boston Bruins and the Chicago Blackhawks. Again, 2 teams that we see pretty regularly in these outdoor games, but I think that having these throwbacks is a good feel, especially since both of those throwbacks are from 1930s and that whole era. I think it works pretty well, and having the throwbacks there and having them redesigned into Adidas, I think will work pretty well, especially for that special Winter Classic. Now, when we look at both of these jerseys together, the main complaint that I have about both of them is the NHL logo. Now, of course, all you guys know how Adidas jerseys work. You got that big, gigantic NHL logo there that's kind of metallic, has that metallic feel, and usually the collar, it kind of goes into it. It kind of completes the finish of the Adidas jerseys. And that's one of my favorite parts about it, is that NHL logo, how it wraps around the collars. And I know that's a big debate, but I really like that part about Adidas jerseys. But with these 2 jerseys, it just doesn't work. The NHL logo is just slapped on there pretty lazily, and with both of these collars, they're kind of just into each other, and no real place for the NHL logo to go besides under it, which I think both of these jerseys kind of weigh it down a little bit. Now, of course, we got to keep in mind that these are throwback jerseys, but at the same time, the NHL logo, I think, just looks really out of place on both of these jerseys, honestly. I think it looks a little bit better on the Chicago Blackhawks jersey, but on that Boston Bruins jersey, it just looks out of place. It's just lazily slapped onto the whites, and I get that they're going for a throwback feel, so that's why the collars kind of put together there without any NHL logo to be placed there, but at the same time, I would like to see these really redone in Adidas, and for that to happen, I would like to see the collars really embrace that NHL logo, which at this point on these jerseys, it just doesn't really work since the NHL logo is just straight slapped on there. And it's not like they can really remove that. The NHL, I think it's mandatory for all those jerseys to have the NHL logo right there, so it's not like they could really do too much, but at the same time, you'd think they'd be taking that into mind when creating these jerseys. I mean, you gotta put the NHL logo somewhere, and right now, especially in that Boston Bruins jersey, I just think it's out of place, and it just doesn't really work. But neglecting that, I do like the feel of this Winter Classic already, where it has the throwback jerseys to the 1930s. I really like that they're going for that throwback feel. We've had some Winter Classics where we've seen throwback jerseys, but I don't think they've really gone full force on the throwback era and the throwback kind of feel of the Winter Classic. And I'm hoping that happens in this Winter Classic, where we get a really throwback type feel there, where really Winter Classics are made to be like how it's outdoors and how it's right back to hockey's roots. I like having these throwback jerseys, especially for Winter Classic games, and these two will definitely fit right in. But of course, I want to hear from you guys. What do you think about either of these jerseys for the Winter Classic in 2019? Chicago Blackhawks for the Boston Bruins. Which one do you prefer? And of course, what are your thoughts on both jerseys? But if you want some more grab goodness, you can watch this video where I talk about Joel Quenneville and which team will hire him. But that's going to be it, guys. If you guys did enjoy this video, make sure you like and subscribe again. Tell me below your thoughts on these jerseys, what you overall think about this Winter Classic as well. And I'll see you guys in the next video or stream. Goodbye.